Tom, a magnificent century here at Hove today against an attack that's caused us plenty of problems and on a wicket that was doing a bit.
Yeah, no, it was. And look, after our first innings, we knew we had to bat better in the third, and it was nice to get a few against what was a good bowling attack on that pitch, and yeah, that was good.
Your fourth first-class century.
Yeah.
But your first here at Hove, with supporters in, that must have been special.
Yeah, no, it was. I think you could tell by the celebration when I got there, it was a huge relief, and to have the supporters here as well made it extra special, because with no fans for the last 18 months, it's been a real different vibe around the grounds, and to have that atmosphere clapping every run, every boundary was really good, and it was great to have them back.
Your previous centuries have come so far in separate seasons, as it were. So this is your second in this season. How big a moment is that for you to be putting obviously hundreds together, but also the runs you've been scoring in between?
Yeah, no, exactly that. And but it's not a case of just settling with 100 and thinking you've made it. You've got to keep working, keep grafting the nets, and doing all the right things away from the pitch, and hope it goes well for yourself on the pitch. And look, I'm going to keep practicing as hard as I have been, and hopefully keep carrying on scoring runs for Sussex.
And mentally, when you watched that cluster of wickets go down yesterday, and then you had a really tough spell from Sanderson, which you weathered, is that a sign of your increasing maturity in the way you approach those difficult periods?
Yeah, I'd hope so. And look, it was tough, that period last night. We got to about level, and then we lost 3 quick wickets, I think it was. But to put on a partnership with Brownie as well, who batted really well, and it was gutting he couldn't quite get over the line to get 100, which he fully deserved. But no, it was a good partnership, and we ended up putting a good score on the board for them to have to chase.
Talking of that chase, well, let's focus on the dismissal of Vasconcelos. Talk us through that.
Yeah, well, I do get a lot of stick for my fielding, so I thought it was very worthy of the celebration after. But no, it was the adrenaline tipped me over in the celebration, and that's what happened.
And your teammates seemed just as excited as you were.
Yeah, well, Vasconcelos is a very good player, and at that time in the game as well, 60 for 1, it was quite a big moment. But look, we got another partnership to break in the morning, and hopefully we can produce something special tomorrow morning. Yeah,
you mentioned that partnership. They've batted well. But as we've seen, wickets do fall in clusters. I guess there's no way we're out of this game.
No, we're not out of this game. And the other thing is a stat, every morning at Hove averages 5 wickets. So look, if we can put the balls in the right areas tomorrow morning for long enough, hopefully we can produce something and get a result out of this game.
Well batted, well fielded.
Well, a very good morning and welcome to Hove on a glorious final day of this match between Sussex and Northamptonshire. The two umpires are making their way out to the middle. My name is Adrian Harms and Andrew Ladd is my colleague from BBC Radio Northampton. It's been a pleasure to welcome Andrew here this week, and you know, this could well be the last session of the match, Andrew.
Well, it could be. If it isn't, then one suspects that Sussex will be right back in it, because I think if Northamptonshire just able to bat through till lunch without losing too many wickets, then it's hard to imagine them not scoring the 87 runs that they need to win. But of course, as we've said, and we said yesterday afternoon, if Sussex could nip a couple out, even with just 87 runs needed and Northamptonshire batting fairly deep, you never know, do you? It's interesting reading what, I was reading it, you were actually hearing him say it, Tom Haynes, yesterday, about wickets, tending to fall a little bit in clusters.
Yes.
At Hove, and that obviously is what Sussex will be hoping for this morning. These two, I thought, played well last night. Rob Keogh and Luke Proctor, the not-out batsmen, who are just making their way out to the middle now. They brought their experience to bear. Apart from that very uncharacteristic stroke that Luke Proctor played against Delray Rawlins, which he probably should have been stumped when he came down the pitch and tried to hit over mid-wicket. Apart from that, I was struggling to think of certainly nothing went to hand, and not too many false strokes, but it's interesting that we're going to see spin right at the start, because it was the spin, and in particular Delray Rawlins, who did cause the most problems last night.
Yes, I would agree. I thought what Keogh and Proctor did particularly well was just keeping the scoreboard ticking over. There was nothing particularly flamboyant, but it was picking up the ones and the twos. And when you're chasing a relatively small total, that's the runs were ticking away. And 87 are needed to win. It's going to be Delray Rawlins who's going to come in from the C end of the ground, comes into bowl to Keogh, and the first ball is played quietly into the offside. And there is no run. The Sussex fielders clearly very up for the task. Lots of clapping going on up there. They'll hope if they could get a wicket or two, maybe it could make life a little difficult for Northamptonshire. But in comes Rawlins again. Bowls, and Keogh drives, and there's the first run of the morning. Driven through the offside, and Keogh picks up a single. He goes to 25. I think that's going to click over to in a moment. It hasn't clicked over.
It is, yes, it's 25.
Yeah.
I think again, it's probably the heat that's got into the scoreboard this morning.
We're not used to it. Oh, there we go. It's gone up. Oh, well, one scoreboard it has, and the other one it hasn't.
We'll rely on the Frank Simmons. I think that seems to be a bit more up to date.
132 for two. And the left-handed Proctor on strike, as in comes Rawlins bowls, and Proctor with a flick of the wrists plays it into the pads of Thomason at short leg. The ball runs on to Steen Van Zyl, who fields at backward square leg, and there is no run. I have to say there's very few spectators in the ground today, perhaps unsurprisingly. But in comes Rawlins and bowls, and has allowed a bit. I thought for a moment he got a nick on that through to Slip and George Garton, but George Garton retrieves the ball, and there is no run. Rawlins again, fifth ball of the opening over of the morning. He's in and bowls, and let go outside the off stump, taken by Brown. There is no run. You can probably hear our effects microphone. I went up to put the microphone up on the roof, and it's pretty blowy up there, I have to say.
Noticed this morning, actually, coming into the ground, it's very much more blustery than it was even yesterday.
Rawlins in bowls, and Proctor just leans forward, plays into the onside. So the opening over of the day, Delray Rawlins just concedes the one run. That one run that's scored by Rob Keogh. Northamptonshire 132 for two, and they need another 86 to win the match.
Yes, I think it's just a question of these two playing themselves in, and I'm sure they will be hoping that not too many of their colleagues will be needed this morning. Delray Rawlins, I thought bowled particularly well last night, and as we were just discussing actually before we came on air, there is a little bit of rough there at the far end, a few footmarks that he can bowl into, and I thought he did that effectively yesterday, obviously bowling over the wicket. But it's just Sussex have just got to keep plugging away, haven't they, and hope that a couple of mistakes, perhaps a bit of luck, good catch, and get themselves back into the game. And we're going to see Jamie Atkins, who again was impressive yesterday, this big 6'6" 18-year-old fast bowler coming into the attack. Starts his 12th over from the Cromwell Road end. Bowls to Keogh, who immediately picks up a single as he drives that up towards mid-on. The fielder there, Travis Head, had to make quite a bit of ground around to his left. He's fairly straight in there at mid-on, and Keogh just looking to find the gap at mid-wicket, which he did effectively. So one more to Rob Keogh, who goes up to 26, and Northamptonshire up to 133 for 2, which means another 84 more runs are required. Here's Atkins again, bowls outside the off stump. Good carry, good pace and carry, goes through to Ben Brown as Luke Proctor has let it go through. I think Rob Keogh was probably fairly pleased about the football result last night. I think he's well, I think he's his sort of local team, I think, is Luton Town, because he's a Dunstable boy.
Okay.
But I think he has a bit of an affiliation to Chelsea, as I know Alex Wakely, former captain, is a big Chelsea fan. Here's Atkins round the wicket, wide outside the off stump, and that was very wide outside the off stump to Luke Proctor, who wasn't interested in anything other than watching it go into the gloves of Ben Brown, who had to take it skipping away to his left in front of Aaron Thomason at first slip. Garton at second, and Delray Rawlins in a fairly deepish gully, almost a backward point position. And they've got a cover on the boundary, extra cover, mid-off, mid-on, and 2 on the boundary on the onside as Watkins comes in and bowls to Proctor, who plays that back down the pitch on the bounce, and it's half stopped by Atkins and his follow through, and there's no run. Yes, 2 on the boundary, there's a deep backward square and a long leg. Henry Crocombe down there in front of the corporate hospitality area. As Adrian was saying, not many people in the ground this morning. I would have thought, I don't know, a couple of hundred, maybe 200 or 300.
Yeah, I doubt if there's even that, to be honest.
Here's Atkins in again, round the wicket, bowls the Proctor outside the off stump, and it goes through to Ben Brown, and there's no run. I suppose the match situation may not have helped. The thought that whichever way it goes, there's probably not going to be a great deal more than a session and a bit maybe to watch. But that said, as we were saying earlier, if you've gone 20 months without county cricket, you thought you want to be taking every possible opportunity. Anyhow, here's Atkins in again, bowls to Proctor, who drives without any great power or timing, goes up to Travis Head at mid-off, who fields, and there's no run. End of the over, 47 to Proctor, 26 to Keogh, and Northamptonshire 133 for 2, which means another 85 runs required for victory.
I just ought to check just to make sure that we are going out on commentary around the ground. We generally get someone who gives us a little wave from the pavilion. If anyone has got the headsets on, if they were able to wave an arm or... Yes, gentleman at the back, thank you, sir. So we are going out around the ground, which is the good news. Yeah, I mean, I'd be surprised if there's more than 100 people in the ground, to be honest.
Yeah, there's perhaps. I just thought there might be a few round the other side, but no, actually there aren't very many, are there? Even down at the front of us.
In comes Rawlins, bowls to Keogh, who plays on the full to mid-wicket, fielded by Head. There is no run. A slip on a short leg of the close field. There's a ring of 3 saving one on the offside, supplemented by a sweeper on the cover boundary, mid-on mid-wicket. The deep backward square. Rawlins in bowls. A bit of extra bounce for Rawlins, who has bowled well. He's in his 14th over, I'm sorry. One made no wicket for 33. There was a miss-stumping last night. Might have accounted for Proctor, as in comes Rawlins again. A quicker delivery, a flatter delivery, and Keogh plays it straight back down the track. And there is no run. Yeah, Proctor was missed when he was on 15. We think it was a chance. Always difficult to tell because it's right at the other end of the ground from where we are, and clearly we're not square with the wicket. Keogh again flicked wristily to mid-wicket, fielded by Head, and there is no run. On 33 for 2. Well, old Dell is the cry from the field. We heard that in our effects microphone as Rawlins is in again, round the wicket, bowls, and Keogh again plays very straight, very correctly into the covers, fielded by Clark, and there is no run. Glorious day, lots of blue sky around, Rawlins is in again. Bowls and flicked down to find it. That's going to run. It could run away for 4 runs. Jamie Atkins is making strides towards the ball, and in fact he gets there just before the ball crosses the rope. Nonetheless, 2 to Keogh, who goes to 28. And Northamptonshire at the end of the over are 135 for 2. Proctor on 47, Keogh on 28. These two coming together when Ricardo Vasconcelos was brilliantly run out by Tom Haynes. And the score was on 57. We spoke to Tom last night, and we asked what was the celebration all about, and he said, "Well, I don't have the best reputation in the team for my fielding." He said, "I'm not, you know." He said, I said, "I do get a bit of stick." So I think not only was Tom surprised, I think his teammates were very surprised with that brilliant bit of fielding. So I think Vasconcelos can consider himself a bit unlucky that he picked out Tom and then Tom hit the stumps.
It was a terrific bit of fielding.
It really was.
It did the rounds on social media last night, didn't it? It was all over the shop, and why not? It was good stuff. Here's Atkins starting fresh over round the wicket, bowls outside the off stump to Proctor. Good carry, bit of bounce, and Ben Brown, I think, to make the point when he took the ball, almost like sort of staggered back a couple of spaces as though he'd almost been knocked off his feet by the pace and bounce. But good carry again from Jamie Atkins, who's been impressive into his 13th over, 1 for 26 so far. Picked up the wicket of Ben Curran last night, caught behind for 10. He was the first man out at 15, and then, as we were saying, Vasconcelos brilliantly run out by Tom Haynes for 38 at 57 for 2. Atkins in again, once again outside the off stump, and once again taken head height by Ben Brown. So Jamie Atkins certainly bending his back this morning, which is good to see, and not, I suppose, hugely surprising. He knows he's not going to have that many overs to bowl in the day. And I had a couple of messages this morning from Northamptonshire supporters saying they just want a minimum of excitement this morning. Well, here's Atkins round the wicket, bowls to Proctor, who just drops that down on the onside. It runs away towards the square leg umpire, Paul Baldwin, and it's a little chase round there for Tom Haynes, who has to come in and field, and they come through for an easy single. 1 more to Proctor, who goes up to 48, and Northamptonshire up to 136 for 2. Yes, they're suggesting that they just don't want any excitement at all. I think all of us are slightly scarred by what happened at Headingley.
Well, I'm not surprised, because that was
on the last day when Northamptonshire were chasing a very similar sort of target, 220 on that occasion, a couple of runs more. Here's Atkins over the wicket to the right-handed Keogh. Clips that away nicely. It's a good shot from Rob Keogh. Goes just behind square. It's running out towards the boundary. It's not going to be 4. Delray Rawlins chases it round and sends in a return which eludes Ben Brown. It's taken in the end by George Garton, coming in from second slip. But 2 runs to Rob Keogh, who goes up to 30, and Northamptonshire up to 138 for 2. So 80 runs the target now. Another 80 runs. Just changing the field now. Pulling out Stiaan van Zyl from backward point. He's going across into mid-wicket, and they're pushing deep square on the boundary. So 2 men back on the fence. Deep square and a long leg. Here's Atkins in again. Bowls just short of a length and down the leg side, and Rob Keogh's a bit annoyed with himself, because it was one of those where if he'd got anything on it, it would have gone away for 4, but he didn't get anything on it, and it went into the gloves of Ben Brown. And there's no run there. 138 for 2.
Well, he's certainly got a yard of pace, hasn't he?
He has.
Atkins.
No, he has.
He's bowled very quickly.
And 2 slips waiting for an edge. As Atkins comes in again from the Cromwell Road end, bowls outside the off stump, just angling in towards the off stump, but a safe lead for Rob Keogh, and it's taken by Ben Brown. End of the over with Proctor on 48, Keogh on 30, and Northamptonshire 138 for 2. That means another 80 runs are required for a Northamptonshire victory, which would be their 3rd of the season in the Championship. Would put them up to 97 points, and then all eyes will be on what happens at the Roses match today. I suppose we were saying yesterday, Adrian, it's an interesting one that probably a draw would suit, but
yes.
In fact, I suppose from Northamptonshire's point of view, if Lancashire were to win today, then it would put them probably all but through. And then it would be a scrap for second place, and Northamptonshire wouldn't be too far behind Yorkshire.
I must admit,
so that's another way of looking at it.
In comes Rawlins, bowls to Proctor, who plays this through mid-wicket. This could be his half-century. He's taken one and comes back for his second, does Luke Proctor. And that's a very fine half-century for the left-hander. 50 off 149 balls.
He's worked hard for that, hasn't he?
He has worked hard. He's been in for 155 minutes with 5 fours. But it's the innings of a pro who's been around for a while, recognised the situation. It was just what the situation demanded. And he's played a good job for his county. He's 50 not out as Rawlins is in again, and Proctor pulls this down to deep backward square and picks up a comfortable single fielded by Carson. Runs required to 77.
Hasn't been a bad match for Northamptonshire's ex-Lancashire contingent, with Simon Kerrigan picking up his first 5 for Northamptonshire yesterday, and Proctor getting some runs here.
I didn't see the overnight score at Old Trafford, I have to confess, but Yorkshire are 87 for 2.
Yes, they're 80. I think they're 85 for 2 overnight. So
Rawlins in bowls. Oh, now I'm not sure what happened there. It looked as if Keogh let that go. I can only imagine by the reaction of keeper Brown that maybe he didn't miss the off stump by very much.
Or maybe even I don't know, because he didn't gather the ball cleanly. Whether it even perhaps just flicked the glove on the way through and just eluded the keeper. It's a bit hard to tell from here. There's a scramble of bat and glove.
Keogh drives the next delivery of good length to mid-off, fielded by Haynes, and there is no run.
And as usual, we're a couple of balls behind on the stream, so we'll have a little look. No, I don't think it took anything. I think, as you say, just miss off stump.
Keogh again bowl. Keogh faces, Rawlins bowls, and Keogh punches to mid-off, fielded by Haynes again. Yet again, there is no run. Yeah,
Keogh left it. It didn't miss off stump by that. It did just turn back in a little bit, and Ben Brown was just excited, I think.
Rawlins bowls, and this time Keogh is back and across and plays with a very straight bat to mid-on, fielded by Henry Crocombe. It is the end of another Rawlins over. 15 overs, 1 maiden, no wicket for 38. So no real alarms here this morning for Northamptonshire, who have added 10 runs. Luke Proctor going through to his half-century. He's 51 not out. Rob Keogh is on 30. You're listening to live cricket on the BBC Radio Sussex, BBC Radio Northamptonshire. You may be watching via the Sussex Club stream, and I know that Drew has been in touch. Hello, Drew, because a few people have commented about the lens on the camera at this CN that does need a good clean, and the club did say they were going to sort that out. I don't think it's been done, so I will mention it again. I gather it is quite frustrating, but if you're watching via that, a very warm welcome. My name's Adrian Holmes, and Andrew Raddis from BBC Radio Northamptonshire.
Yeah, we chat with Tom Taylor last night after close of play, and he was talking about this match in general and the campaign as well, as Atkins starts a fresh over around the wicket, bowls edges and caught. And Sussex have got the breakthrough they wanted this morning, and Luke Proctor's annoyed with himself. It was a bit of a loose drive outside the off stump, and it flew to first slip. It was Aaron Thompson who took the catch, and Proctor is on his way back, and Northamptonshire are 141 for 3. Reward for Atkins, who bowled really well in this innings. Proctor goes for 51, 141 for 3, and still 77 runs needed for victory.
Good catch, actually. It went very quickly low down to Aaron Thomason, but I think you described the dismissal exactly as it happened. I think it was a loose shot from Luke Proctor, and having batted so well for his 51, and I think he'll be disappointed actually, because he batted very nicely, hadn't taken any risks, but that was just a loose shot.
We were saying it's a question of just trying to finish the job, isn't it? There's a job of work to be done, which is to take Northamptonshire over the line and wrap up this win, as I say, with from Northampton's point of view, the minimum of fuss and excitement. And Proctor's, well, he's gone inside the first sort of 20 minutes of the morning, so yeah, he will be disappointed. I say that it wasn't the best shot he's played. I think that's probably not being unreasonable. Anyway, he's out. Zabe comes to the crease, so one left-hander replaces another. Zabe having very well in the first innings for 64, really held the innings together.
Did.
He was in a long time. He batted, what, just over 3 hours. Faced 123 balls for his 64. He's been in good form in the Championship the last month or so. But again, different little challenge for him here. He also battled well in that chase up at Headingley, which I hate to keep going back to as far as Northamptonshire supporters are concerned, but
scarred you.
it has. Oh my goodness! Yes, it was a day. It was a memorable day, and it was a terrific game to be able to watch and privileged to commentate on. But yeah, not a great outcome for Northamptonshire. Here's Atkins bowling his first ball to Zabe. It's a short of a length, and he plays that out in the offside. Goes into the covers, fielded by Jack Carson, and there's no run. 3 slips in for the new batsman, not surprisingly. Just trying to perhaps nip out another one quickly when the. So we'll see which over we're in. The 49th over of the innings.
Yes.
It is, yeah. So the ball's again sort of fairly soft now. Here's Atkins in again, bowls to Zabe, who's off the mark. Just plays that in front of square, just by the umpire Paul Baldwin, and it's Stian Van Zyl who comes in off the boundary to field. Just underarms the ball back to the bowler, and that's 1 to Zabe, and Northamptonshire up to 142 for 3. The partnership between those two, Proctor and Keogh, was worth 84 in 30 overs for the 3rd wicket, so a handy stand, but going at about 3 and over, but that partnership's now been broken, and now Rob Keogh is the senior man. He's facing this ball from Atkins and drives nicely up through extra cover. He's going to get runs, so he's not going to get 4. There's a long chase around the boundary there, and they're able to come back for a couple. Nicely timed shot from Rob Keogh, very strong through there, and he goes up to 32, and Northamptonshire up to 144 for 3. Henry Crocombe, I think, chased that round the boundary. Good turn of speed, as he showed a couple of times yesterday.
Yes, one particularly good piece of field. It wasn't
wonderful,
down here at third
wonderful
man.
Diving stop that turned 4 into 2. Terrific bit of fielding. We were commenting then that a few fast bowlers of an earlier vintage probably wouldn't have done that. Here's Atkins in again, bowls to Keogh down the leg side. Keogh shapes to turn it down towards fine leg, doesn't make contact, goes into the gloves of Ben Brown, and there's no run. 144 for 3. If you're just joining us, you're very, very welcome to the county ground here at Hove. Andrew Rad and Adrian Harms bringing you commentary on the final day of this county championship match. It's been an intriguing contest, and who's to say there's not to be perhaps another little twist or turn before we get to the end. Here's Atkins in again, bowls to Keogh, again drives up towards extra cover, this time doesn't manage to beat Van Zyl, and that's the end of the over, and a successful one for Jamie Atkins, who's picked up his 2nd wicket of the innings. His figures: 14 overs, 1 maiden, 2 for 32. Rob Keogh is 32. Safe Zabe has made a single, and Northamptonshire 144 for 3, needing another 74 runs to win. Sussex needs 7 more wickets.
Had a couple of emails in on Sussex Cricket at bbc.co.uk. First one from David, who says, "Good morning, Adrian. Looking at the scorecard and the way this game is going, I can imagine the table looks a bleak place this morning for the Sussex faithful. That said, it appears positives in the game, with particularly the batting of Carson. If the Red Rose win today and Sussex were to put all the elements together at Headingley in their next game, suddenly there would be an in touching distance of Yorkshire in the table, and the world would look a very different place. Lots of ifs and buts, however, as Pandora found, there is always hope. A lot to applaud," he says, in what Sussex are doing. So thank you for that, David. Julian's been in touch. He says, "Good morning. I shall be watching and listening from home today, whilst hoping for a sensational bowling display from Sussex. Thank you for the excellent commentary. Enjoy your sausage rolls at lunchtime." Thank you, Julian. Good to see you this week. You're probably sitting in the back garden, I would imagine. Steve Miles has been in touch from Chichester as well, and I'll read your email at the end of the over, Steve, as in comes Rawlins bowls. That gets a little low, but steered by Zabe for his 2nd run to the sweeper on the cover boundary. He goes to 2. Northamptonshire 145 for 3, needing 73 to win. Brings the right-handed Keogh on to strike. There are 2 slips in place. A backward point, extra cover, long off, sweeper on the cover boundary, mid-on, mid-wicket and a deep backward square. Rawlins in bowls, wide of the off-stump, thumped away by Keogh, but only as far as Carson, who's patrolling that offside boundary, but Keogh picks up a single. Nonetheless, he goes to 33. Northamptonshire to 146 for 3. Runs required down to 72. The field changes for the left-handed Zabe. Now 3 men around the bat. There's a slip, a leg slip, and a short leg. I think good tactics from Ben Brown, because Sussex do need wickets. An obvious thing, but taken one this morning as Rawlins comes in. Bowls to Zabe, who decides to hit high, wide and handsome, and that has gone for 6 runs. Well, he took a step down the wicket, did save Zabe, and he just cracked the ball over wideish mid on for 6 runs. It went very high, actually.
It did.
And I just wondered if for a moment it was just going to drop inside the boundary fence, but it went all the way for 6 runs. So
Absolutely, it was pretty much the furthest point of the ground as well, over towards the eastern side. It's a long boundary, that side, and well, it's an interesting choice of stroke. It's a stroke of a young man, I think it's probably fair to say, who's confident, who's playing well, who's obviously probably in the form of his life, certainly in terms of red ball cricket at the moment. Big hit. 152 for 3. Rawlins in again, and Zabe is driving into the offside. There is no Zabe to 8. I just wonder whether he was giving a little nudge to the coach that perhaps he fancies playing a bit of T20 cricket as well with a shot. I think there's no doubt he'll be in the T20 side. I'll be amazed if he isn't. He's worth it for his fielding, if nothing else.
Rawlins in again, bowls, and Zabe places firmly down the ground. Haynes is across. Good bit of fielding by Tom Haynes. A tumbling stop can't prevent the single. Zabe to 9. Northamptonshire 153 for 3. I
think that's the thing with Zabe, Adrian, that you would have said, probably going into this season, that he's almost like pigeonholed as white ball.
Rawlins and Keogh made a move as if to come down the wicket and drive, but instead he checked the shot and played it firmly through backward point. Carson races around the boundary and gets in the throw, but nonetheless it's one more to Keogh, who goes to 34. A relatively expensive over from Delray Rawlings, who's actually bowled very well, but that over went for 10. Figures now 16 overs, 1 maidens, no wicket for 48. Northamptonshire 154 for 3, Zabe on 9, Keogh 134, and 64 more runs needed to win.
Yes, we always have a little bit of a, I think those of us that obviously follow counties home and away and day in, day out, you can sort of see things and you think, well, I'm not sure the coach has got that right. But I think with Safe Zabe, you have to give a lot of credit to David Ripley, because Safe Zabe, as I say, he's played a bit of championship cricket. He's been in and out of the red ball side for a few seasons now, and I think you say, well, yeah, for white ball he's ideal because he hits the ball hard. He's a brilliant fielder. He can bowl a bit if you need him to. But David Ripley has obviously decided quite early on in the piece to give him a run in red ball, and it's been a hugely successful move. Here's Atkins in again, bowls to Rob Keogh, who plays it back down the pitch, and Atkins fields in his follow through. So yeah, full credit to David Ripley. He's back to Zabe, and as I say, after that first championship match he played this season was up at Old Trafford when he made 4 and 4. But since then, 41 against Glamorgan, an important partnership with Adam Rossington. Atkins comes in, bowls to Keogh, and there's a sort of strangled appeal, and it would have been a strangle as well if Keogh had got something on that, as he shaped to play it down the leg side. It's taken by Ben Brown, diving away to his left, but nothing on it, and the appeal rather died in the throats there. And then up at Headingley, 55 and 25 in that low scoring game. 135 his maiden century in the match against Sussex, and then 64 in the first innings here. Here's Atkins in again, bowls to Keogh, just drops that down on the offside and finds the gap at backward point, and he's able to come through for a single. And it's George Garton who trots round from second slip to complete the fielding. That's the end of, no, that's not the end of the over, sorry, 155 for 3. And moving around, of course, the left-handers in Safe Zabe. 155 for 3, Keogh to 35, and another 63 runs required, 3 slips in place for Zabe. Atkins comes round the wicket to him, and he's just tucked up a little bit by that one. And he plays it down into the covers, where it's Jack Carson who comes in from extra cover to field. 3 slips, backward point, Delray Rawlins, almost inevitably. Then Carson in the covers, Travis Head at mid-off. Then we have a mid-on, deep backward square, and a long leg on that short boundary down on the east side of the ground. Atkins in again, round the wicket, bowls to Zabe, who drives beautifully through the covers. It's a long chase for Carson out towards the boundary. I don't think he's going to stop it. No, he's not. It crosses the rope, and that's 4 runs to Safe Zabe, who goes into double figures. 13 to him. He's faced just 8 balls, and Northamptonshire up to 159 for 3.
Yeah.
The requirement is down to 59.
Yeah, classy shot. I was just going to say full marks to Jamie Atkins today, who's absolutely steaming in down the hill. He's giving it absolutely everything, but that was a quality shot from Zabe.
Here's Atkins in again, bowls to Zabe, who's right across his stumps, plays it up to mid-on. Ben Brown applauding the bowler, and rightly so, because it's been a good spell from Atkins this morning, and I'm sure if he wishes he got another 50-60 runs to play with, might be a different matter. As it is, Northamptonshire 159 for 3, Zabe is 13, Keogh's 35, and Northamptonshire need another 59 runs to win, with the rest of today to get them.
We might have a refuse vehicle or something around the back of the ground.
Yes.
You'll probably hear in our effects microphone. Steve Miles has been in touch, and he says, thanks for the coverage, especially because of my health, from one who's unable to get to the county ground anymore. So Steve, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad that at least if we can bring you some of the action from here, it's enjoyable. And I'll read the rest of your email in a moment, as Delray Rawlins is in and bowls to Keogh, and Keogh looks to cut this one down the leg side. But doesn't make contact, and Brown tidies up behind to the stumps. 2 slips, 3 men saving one on the offside, sweeper on the cover boundary, a mid-on, mid-wicket, both saving a single, the deep backward square, and just as I give you the field, the second slip then goes to a leg slip. As in comes Rawlins, bowls, and Keogh covers up quietly in with soft hands, lets the ball just dribble in front of him, and there is no run. Rawlins does skip through his overs very quickly. It's definitely a refuse vehicle, isn't it? As Rawlins is in and bowls and let go outside the off stump by Keogh, taken by Brown, and there is no run. Beautiful blue skies right across the ground. It's a lovely day. I'm sure it's busy on the beach today as Rawlins is in and bowls, and there's a bit of extra. It's a bit of nip and a bit of extra bounce, and it surprised Keogh, and Ben Brown took that up around his shoulder.
Still a bit there for Rawlins, isn't there? As there was yesterday.
We said yesterday, Northamptonshire looked fairly comfortable here, but 250 might have been an interesting chase, but in comes Rawlins, bowls, and Keogh plays quietly to mid-wicket, fielded by Head, and there is no run. Rawlins rubs the ball on his trousers and turns and comes around to the wicket past umpire Baldwin and gets into his delivery stride, and then decides that he's not got his run up quite right, so he wanders back to his mark again. I think he actually wanted a change in the field now. No, he doesn't. He's standing right behind the umpire and now has picked 3 or 4 paces as in and bowls, and Keogh is forward to a ball that's pitching around middle and off, played into the offside. There is no run. It's the end of the over. 159 for 3. Zabe 13, Keogh 35. 59 needed to ring to win. Steve goes on to say, I think I'm correct in saying that Sussex have lost, and without some amazing comeback, look like they're going to lose today's match, having batted first in each game. What would your overall analysis of their performance so far be, and do you think that they in the future should do anything different? Well, I think in answer to that, Steve, Sussex are going down a path of giving young players a chance. We were talking about this earlier on in the match. 8 of the current side are 24 or younger, and there's bound to be ups and downs with any young side. This is a very good Northamptonshire side, a side were it not for COVID would have been playing First Division cricket. Very strong attack.
Yep, we can discuss this, but in the course of the over is Atkins round the wicket, bowls short to Zabe, who sways out of the way. It goes through to Ben Brown, and there's no run. Yeah, no, that's right, and it's an experience. I think the bowling attack is undoubtedly Northamptonshire strength this year, with the 4 frontline seamers, a couple of decent seamers who aren't even getting 3, in fact, who aren't even getting a game at the moment. Brandon Glover, Nathan Buck and Jack White, who was the leading wicket taker for Northamptonshire in the Bob Willis Trophy last year. So, that has to be put into the sort of the mix, doesn't it? Here's Atkins in again, bowls outside the off-stump to Zabe, who just lets it go through to Brown, and there's no run. I hope, and I'm speaking as a sort of an outsider as far as Sussex is concerned, but I've really enjoyed watching the likes of Tom Haynes and Henry Crocombe and Jamie Atkins in this match, and I really hope that Sussex and coach Ian Salisbury is just allowed to see them develop, and it's covered up Zabe there and plays it out to the covers. Well, it's fielded by Jack Carson as well, of course, and there's no run. And I just, I hope that he's given time.
Yes.
Because I think he's got some very, very talented young cricketers here, and you hope, I think probably that the issue, it seems to me the big issue for Sussex at the moment is the fact that the overseas players sadly are not yet so far at any rate really contributed. I think that's possibly the problem. Round the wicket comes Atkins again. It's good pace from Jamie Atkins. He really is slipping himself this morning, and Zabe's letting that go through to Brown, and again there's no run. So yeah, you've got I think that's the problem. If you need that bit of balance and that bit of ballast, if you like, in the batting order. And I'm sure if Travis Head and Stian Van Zyl were contributing a wee bit more, then Sussex would be able to convert some of the good positions they've got into, looking over the course of the season, into wins. Here's Atkins in again, bowls to Zabe, who plays that up to mid-on. He has to go through quite quickly for the single. It's a good sharp bit of fielding by the man himself, Tom Haynes. It's Sussex's answer to Colin Bland at the moment, or Jonty Rhodes. Through at the stumps, didn't hit the stumps this time, and Zabe's home, and he's just having a chat with Rob Keogh and suggesting that perhaps was a little bit tighter than it needed to be. Anyway, one more to the total, 14 to Zabe, and Northamptonshire up to 160 for 3, 58 more runs needed. One of the slips goes out then for Keogh, and Aaron Thomason, who took the catch to dismiss Luke Proctor, is now in at forward short leg under the helmet, as Atkins is in again, bowls to Keogh, who jabs that down, gets it off a thick inside edge, and it runs down off that mixture of bat and pad down to backward point. Crocombe field, and one more run to the total, and to Rob Keogh, goes up to 36, and Northamptonshire up to 161 for 3 at the end of the over. Nigel Long doesn't want to move. He was enjoying that over so much, he was sort of rooted to the spot at the far end, at the Cromwell Road end, but now he retreats to square leg. End of the over, 161 for 3, 57 more runs needed. I think you'll be updating BBC Radio Sussex in a moment, Adrian.
Yes, I will. But I think your assessment of Sussex is right. I think that it's an obvious one as well. They in this match the two overseas batsmen haven't really contributed. Had they done so, Sussex may have been defending maybe 250, 300, and it might have been a different game of cricket. But I think there's going to be ups and downs this season, is the answer, Steve. And let's hope there's more ups than downs. But you have to remember as well, the bowling attack, no Ollie Robinson, no Jofra Archer, no Chris Jordan. I mean, I know we weren't going to see much of Chris or Jofra anyway, but Ollie away with England, and we hope he plays on Wednesday, as in comes Rawlins and bowls, and driven by Keogh down the ground, fielded by Tom Haynes, and there is a... Yes, thanks very much, Joe. Lovely day here at Hove, and Northamptonshire are edging their way to victory. They're 161 for 3. Rob Keogh leading the way on 36. They have lost a wicket this morning, that of Luke Proctor, who became Jamie Atkins' second wicket of the innings. But Northamptonshire 161 for 3, need another 57 to win, and it very much looks as if Surrey are going to win at the Oval today. Gloucestershire in their second innings, 147 for 7, still trailing by 168. As Keogh punches into the covers, fielded by Clark, and there is no run. Rawlins comes in again and bowls and plays by Keogh through backward point. They've taken one, they'll come back for a second, I'm fairly sure, because Carson has to move a long way to his left to field the ball. Throw comes in, not the best throw I have to say, but it's backed up by Travis Head. 2 more to Keogh, he goes to 38. And talking of Ollie Robinson, if you go to the BBC Sussex Twitter feed, there is a little short documentary put about Ollie Robinson that you might like to listen to. Charting Ollie's career as in comes Rawlins, bowls to Keogh, and that's good batting. Plays it firmly to mid-off, but Haynes was set back a little way, not really saving the one, and Keogh spotted that and went through for a comfortable single. He goes to 39. Northamptonshire to 164 for 3.
I hadn't registered until we were talking about it, I think, up at Northampton, that Ollie Robinson made 100 in his first game, didn't he?
He did, yeah, his debut for Sussex up at Durham. And he shared a record 10th wicket partnership, which still stands with the sadly no longer with us Matthew Hobden. It was an amazing day. And a poignant day as well, a record that I hope never gets beaten.
Absolutely.
In comes Rawlins, bowls, and Zabe's down the ground, he hits high and wide. Well, I'm not sure this is going to go for 6. I thought initially it was, but he didn't time it quite, did Zabe. He's rather enjoying himself, I think, as he came down the wicket, hit the ball down the ground to long off, didn't really get hold of it, and he's rehearsing the shot nonetheless. He gets a couple more runs to Zabe. He goes to 16, Northamptonshire to 166 for 3. Now needing 52 to win.
He didn't quite get there, did he? He didn't quite get there, and I must admit, I don't know about his heart, but my heart was in the mouth when I saw it go up in the air, and he realised it was going to at least drop safe. But he didn't quite get there. Rob Keir's just having a little word and suggesting that be positive, be aggressive, but there's no need to do anything, too spectacular at this stage. They need another 52 to win. Long time to go.
Yeah, a bit of spin now as well. Jack Carson just finishing up on the Sussex debate. Jack Carson has batted well in this match, but I think you made a very good point, Andrew, and that was about Ian Salisbury. Hope you're given time, and thankfully. Cricket hasn't gone down the. Everybody wants success, doesn't he? Northamptonshire want to win, Sussex want to win, the other 16 counties all want to win, but everybody can't win all the time. And the resources are such that you have to give younger players a chance. It's about a balance. There's ups and downs, and you just hope that people are given time. Yeah. Because it's not going to happen in one season.
Well, I really hope that that is the case. I think having Ian Salisbury back as a head coach of a county is good news for county cricket. He's a good man, and I hope he's given a chance to, and the time he needs just to bring these players through, because it'll be good news for England as well as for Sussex potentially. Here's Carson bowling to Rob Keir, who starts off with a reverse sweep, and it runs away for 4. Well, after suggesting that Rob Keir was saying to Safe Zabe, just cool it a bit. First ball, reverse sweep, goes away for 4. Keogh up to 43 and Northamptonshire to 170 for 3. I suppose the thing is with the reverse sweep, those of us of a certain age still think of it as a slightly sort of risky shot. But to these pros, it's as natural a stroke to a lot of them as the orthodox sweep.
Yeah, you're right.
Some play it better than others. There was nothing wrong with that one. Here's Carson in again, bowls to Keogh, just pushes that into the covers and picks up a long single as it goes out there to Travis Head. And they come through for one more run, 44 to Keogh, and Northamptonshire up to 171 for 3, 47 more runs needed. So this morning they've added 40 runs in 40 minutes. And they need another 47. A slip and a forward short leg in place for Carson. He's going to be bowling round the wicket from the Cromwell Road end to the left-handed Zabe. Man on the drive as well, it's short extra. And so drives that one on the bounce back to Carson. We talked before, Adrian, about Northamptonshire up at Northampton, the previous match between these two sides this year, targeting Carson very early on, and just wonder if that's the thinking again here. This ball finds Zabe pushing forward, ball just running down to Aaron Thomason, who's under the helmet at forward short leg, and there's no run, so Sussex thinking that maybe spin is the best option, and I think that's probably wise. Round the wicket comes Carson, bowls to Zabe, pushes out on the offside. He's thought about a single, but Ben Brown is alert to that possibility and scampers out from behind the stumps to field. There is a man, any case, on the drive at short extra cover. And Carson is in again, round the wicket bowl, short to Zabe, and that bounced and turned, and Zabe got an edge, and it's running away down towards the boundary. It's not going to be forward. It's a super bit of fielding by Henry Crocombe, who had a long chase and has just managed to flick it back, and they come back for 3 runs, but 3 involuntary runs, it must be said, by Safe Zabe. That ball really did bounce. We were saying that the odd one from that end, the Cromwell Road end, off both the seamers and the spinners, has bounced. That one did, and Zabe just about got away with it. He picks up 3 runs, 19 to him, and Keogh is 44, Northamptonshire 174 for 3, 44 runs needed. And it does go back to this point, Adrian, at the risk of both of us sounding slightly like a crack record, that if Sussex had been able to set another 50, 60 runs, it could have been a very, very interesting last day. It may still be, but it could have been, you feel, a real classic, championship last day classic.
Absolutely. Just picking up on, we had an email from Steve Dines, I'll read it in a moment, but Yorkshire are 97 for 4, so it looks like slipping to defeat.
It's a bit that way.
As in comes Rawlins and bowls, and a reverse swept by Zabe, and he's going to get 4 runs. Down to what would be the 3rd man boundary for the left-hander, as he reverse swept, he sort of goes down, I guess, fine leg for the right-hander. Either way, the net result is 4 more to Zabe. He's rather enjoying himself. He goes to 23. Northampton 178 for 3, and Steve says a Lancashire victory against Yorkshire and Northamptonshire win over Sussex will put Northamptonshire within 1 point of Yorkshire in the table. It'll be the 3rd victory of the season for Northamptonshire, and all to play for. In comes Rawlins again, bowls, and Zabe cuts firmly to backward point, fielded all the way down there by Jamie Atkins. Zabe goes to 24, 179 for 3.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Whatever, I know people have, everybody has their own opinion, to which they are certainly entitled, about the new sort of conference system that's come in this year, and I know there's a few in Northamptonshire a bit disappointed that Northamptonshire didn't get the chance to play in Division 1, having got promotion.
Rawlins in bowls, Keogh forward, plays back to Rawlins, there is no run.
But you have to say that, here we are in back end of May, and it's boiling up so nicely, and every match has significance, and I think it's going pretty well.
Rawlins bowls cut away by Keogh, backward of square on the offside. Carson is at deep backward point, gets in the throw, 1 more to Keogh. He's almost gone unnoticed to 45 actually, Rob Keogh. Northampton 183. No, I agree, and Sussex up at Headingley next week.
Yeah. If they could get a win.
Well, it's keeping all. I mean, I think Sussex are out of the running for the top 2 places, but they've still got a part to play in the group. Rawlins in again, bowls, and Zabe sweeps, but straight to fielder at deepish mid-wicket, who's Stian Van Zale, and there is no run. 38 needed to win for Northamptonshire. Zabe looks like he's on a bit of a mission to get on with it here. Rawlins in bowls, and Zabe drives with a flick of the wrists. A slight misfield by Clark at midfield, but he did enough to take the pace off the ball, deflected it to Haynes at mid-on, and there is no run. End of the over, 180 for 3. Zabe 24, Keogh 45, 38 for Northants to winner. Quick email from Clive Jacobs. He says, "Hello Adrian, lovely to hear live cricket with spectators in the ground making their applause heard. The Sussex top order's got to improve, and it's good to hear Tom and Ben getting runs. But the top 6 has been misfiring for much of this year. With such a raw attack, runs on the board are essential if the raw attack is to stand a chance. Short of volley, we lack a cutting edge." He says, "I hope the attack learn how to knock over the Northants' tail as they did to us. Regards, Clive Jacobs." Thanks, Clive, for getting in touch. Yeah, and actually, Andrew and I were making the point yesterday, with due credit to all the Sussex bowlers, the Sussex attack with Ollie Robinson is a different proposition, and again that might have made a difference today. But
no, I think that's definitely the case. Yeah, it's interesting. It's also with the Northamptonshire seamers. We're talking about the 4 frontline seamers, but part of the discussion I was having with Tom Taylor last night, and sort of building on what Chris Liddle, the bowling coach, was saying earlier in the week about the fact that we've seen Ben Sanderson and Gareth Berg having had an outstanding few matches for Northamptonshire, as Carson starts another over round the wicket to Rob Keogh, who brings out the reverse sweep again, but there's a man back there now, Jamie Atkins. on the boundary at backward point to the right-hander, and they come through for just a single, so one more to Keogh, who goes up to 46, and Northamptonshire up to 181 for 3, 37 more runs to win. And he was sort of making the point that you've got a couple of bowlers there. Carson bowls round the wicket short to Zabe, who chops that away to backward point. It's half stopped by Henry Crocombe, but Delroy Rawlins comes round from his position, sweeping on the cover boundary to tidy up. But they come through for another single, 25 to Zabe, and Northamptonshire up to 182 for 3, 36 to win. So you've got two bowlers who are probably a bit tired because they've bowled a lot of overs, Berg and Sanderson. Carson again bowls to Keogh, and it's another single. He just pushes it out into the covers, and it's fielded by Stian van Zale. One more to Keogh, goes to 47, and Northamptonshire to 163 for 3. And then you've got Wayne Parnell and Tom Taylor, who the combination of the success that Berg and Sanderson have had and the weather haven't actually bowled that many overs. Here's Zabe in behind that ball, plays it off the front foot back down the pitch for Carson to field, and there's no run, and maybe just feeling a little bit undercooked. That's just the way it goes, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Here's Carson, and again round the wicket bowls to Zabe, who's pushing that forward, landing there at the drive. On the drive, Tom Clark just trots into field, and there's no run now. Beautiful morning now, there's barely a cloud in the sky, gorgeous blue sky. And Carson comes in, bowls to Zabe, plays that down to backward point, where it's fielded by Henry Crocombe, and there's no run. End of another over from Jack Carson, who's now bowled 19 overs, 2 maidens, no wicket for 35. Keogh is 47, Zabe is 25, Northamptonshire 183 for 3, and then 35 runs to win.
Nice message from Zach Tamuzzi, who was formerly the chief executive here at Sussex. Before Rob Andrew, he goes on to say, "Good morning, Adrian, thank you for the commentary. The next best thing to being there in person." He says, "Thank you also for the most enjoyable piece on Ollie Robinson. Let's hope he gets his well-deserved opportunity. All the very best to both of you. Regards, Zach." And thank you, Zach, for your help in us putting together that little documentary all about Ollie Robinson that you can find on BBC Sounds. It's there if you want to have a listen. So thank you, Zach. As in comes Rawlins around the wicket bowls to Rob Keogh, and Keogh hammers that through extra cover. That's going to be 4 runs. A little too short from Delroy Rawlins. He's bowled well as Delroy Rawlins, but that was too short, and Keogh just leant back and belted the ball through extra cover. Not only is it a 4, but it's a half century for Rob Keogh. He goes to 51 in 101 balls in over 2 hours, including 4 fours, and it's been a highly responsible innings which is guiding Northamptonshire towards their 3rd win of the county championship season, needing now just 31 to win. Rawlins in again, bowls, and Keogh nudges that onto the leg side and picks up a single to mid-wicket. And one more to Keogh. He goes to 52, 188 for 3. A couple of people have commented throughout the match about the screens and the camera lenses and a slightly blurred vision, and the club have got back to me this morning. I think, Drew, you were asking about it in particular. They have been cleaned, just to let you know, as in comes Rawlins and bowls, and down the wicket comes Zabe, and that's high, wide and handsome, and Zabe is clearly a man in a hurry. That's a big, big 6, uses his feet down the wicket and drives Delroy Rawlins high, wide and handsome over long on. 6 more runs to Zabe. That's the second 6. He goes to 31 in just 28 balls.
I wonder if he's got another game to play in this afternoon somewhere. He wants to get back to Northampton to play a Sunday afternoon match or something.
Makes you wonder. 194 for 3, just 24 needed to win. Lovely shot. So I'm just going to read this out for you. It says, they say, "Good morning, Adrian. We gave the camera a clean this morning, but the black dots that come up on the screen are on the lens and have come from exposure from the sun. Nothing much we can do about that at the moment, but the club are aware of the problem. Those of you who are watching and listening, or watching, I should say, the live feed, the club are aware of a couple of issues, and they are doing their best to sort them out." So that tidies that up. But a lovely shot by Zabe, as you say. It looks like he's in a bit of a hurry to get back up the M1.
He used his feet well, didn't he?
He did. Lovely shot.
Got to the pitch of it rather better than he did the one that he tried in the previous over that went up, but had a rather more height than distance, and he didn't quite get to, but he did certainly to that one and hit through it beautifully.
Rawlins again on his way bowls, and Zabe just covers up, plays on the bounce to Thomason at short leg, and there is no run. Yes, he's had a good couple of matches against Sussex, as Zabe, a very good century at Wantage Road, as in comes Rawlins again bowls, and Zabe is forward to a ball of good length and just pushes it onto the onside. Fielded by Clark, there is no run, but such is the way of professional sport, he'll want to be there at the end. 194 for 3. Rawlins in again bowls, and cut away by Zabe. You probably heard in our effects microphone sound of bat on ball. He picks up another single and he's going to pinch the strike. He goes to 32. Northamptonshire 195 for 3. 23 needed to win for Northamptonshire. Don't forget, more cricket coming up next week. The next round of matches coming thick and fast. Thursday is the start of the next round of matches. Sussex will be up in Leeds to play Yorkshire. Northamptonshire will be in the neighbouring county to here. They'll be at Canterbury against Kent, and then the T20 start in earnest, and every ball of every match of every county live on the BBC as part of our new 4-year deal, which is all very exciting stuff.
It certainly is, and it's going to be Jack Carson who's going to bowl again from the Cromwell Road end, round the wicket to Zabe, who drives up to mid-off. Travis Head fields. Jack Carson goes to attempt to do a tumbling diving stop. Doesn't make contact with the ball, goes up to Travis Head, and there's no run. Still a forward short leg slip and short extra cover as the close catchers. Carson in again, round the wicket, bowls to Zabe, who's playing that up towards extra cover. Van Zale comes into field and there's no run. I think at the end of the previous over I rather inflated the number of overs that Jack Carson had bowled. This is his 12th. No wicket for 35 so far. Carson again bowls short, and Zabe hammers that away through extra cover. He's hit that very hard and it's gone for 4. Crosses the rope down there in front of the indoor school, and whatever the safe save is trying to catch Rob Keogh up. He's not doing a bad job. He's on 36. He's only faced 34 balls, and Northamptonshire up to 199 for 3. Just 19 more runs required. Here's Carson in again, bowls to Zabe, and that's well bowled, Carson. He just speared that one in a little bit, and Zabe on the back foot plays it up to short extra, but without any timing. It's fielded by Tom Clark. Carson saw him coming. Carson in again, bowls to Zabe, a little bit short of a length, and Zabe's able to rock back on the back foot, punch it down to backward point, and pick up another long single. Delray Rawlins comes in off the boundary of the field. One more to Zabe, 37 to him, and 200 up for Northamptonshire. Greeted with tumultuous applause from this near capacity crowd around Hove. No, sorry, I'm being facetious now. No, it's all just slightly an air of inevitability now, I think. Here's Carson in round the wicket, bowls to Keogh, who's on the back foot, plays it up to short mid-wicket. Clark fields, and that's the end of Jack Carson's 12th over. 2 maidens, no wicket for 45 off that one. Northamptonshire 200 for 3, with Rob Keogh on 52, Safe Zabe on 37, and another 18 runs required for victory. And probably after this next over I shall need to go and update BBC Radio Northampton.
Right, well, let's have a quick look at the other schools around the country. I see Worcestershire have beaten Derbyshire today. I think Travis Head's going to have a bowl, actually. From this, the C end of the ground, we are rather going through the motions now. 18 needed to win, as Andrew was saying. And I'm sure that Zabe and Keogh would rather like to be there at the end. 37 to Zabe, just the 1 wicket's gone down today. That of Luke Proctor, who was caught low down by Aaron Thomason at first slip off the bowling of Jamie Atkins. So elsewhere, Worcestershire beaten Derbyshire by an innings and 23 runs. Surrey on the verge of beating Gloucestershire at the Oval, as in comes Head and bowls, and Zabe places quietly to mid-wicket, and there is no run. Gloucestershire 167 for 7 in their second innings, still trailing Surrey by 148. Head in again, and Zabe sweeps, and a lovely shot as well by Safe Zabe, by Sex for leg side field, races away for 4 runs, and this young man is in a hurry. He's gone to 41 in just 38 deliveries. Northamptonshire are cruising to victory, 204 for 3, just 14 more runs needed to win. The head readjusts his field. 3 men saving 1 on the leg side. There's still a slip in place, a deep backward square. As Travis Head right arm off spin around the wicket. Bowls, and Zabe just worked us into the offside. He wants a single, but Keogh's having none of it at the non-striker's end, and Zabe raises a thumbs up to his partner and says, yes, that was a good call. It was backward of a square, so it was the non-striker's call. And there probably wasn't a single there. Head in again, bowls, and cut away by Zabe. Crunching drive through the offside, fielded by Atkins on the cover boundary, right underneath the clock tower scoreboard. Gets in the throw, but it's 1 more to Zabe. He goes to 42. Northamptonshire to 205 for 3, and 13 more runs needed to win. Ben Brown still trying to attack, still moving the field around, but even as an optimist as Ben will know that the game is up here for Sussex. As Head is in and bowls, and Keogh is forward, nudges into the offside and picks up a comfortable single as Delray Rawlins needs to run from backward point to field. Keogh to 53, runs required to 12. Safe Zabe has already hit 2 sixes down the ground this morning, and I wonder whether he might fancy doing so again. As Head is in again, bowls, and he's down the wicket driving, and that was well bowled by Travis Head. I think he saw Safe Zaid coming, decided to fire the ball in at his pads. The ball trickles out on the offside, and there is no run. 206 for 3 at the end of the over. Zabe on 42, Keogh on 53. And just rattling through those other scores, in this group, Yorkshire are 98 for 4. Trailing Lancashire by 252, so that looks an uphill battle for Yorkshire, and you would think Lancashire would wrap up victory provided there's no interruptions from weather, etc. Up at Old Trafford. And Leicestershire 114 for 2 at Grace Road, needing another 264 to beat Middlesex. But the dying embers of the game here as Jack Carson comes in around the wicket, comes into bowl to Rob Keogh. Keogh just plays that quietly back to the bowler. There is no run. A slip and a short leg of the close fielders. Backward point, sweeper on the cover boundary. Mid-off, mid-on. Backward square leg, or it's a short fine leg. There's a long on and a deep backward square. As Carson is in and bowls, and Keogh plays this on the bounce to short leg, fielded by Thomason. And there is no run. Just the 1 wicket to go down here this morning, and of Luke Proctor, who was caught well low down by Aaron Thomason at first slip off the bowling of Jamie Atkins. His 2nd wicket of the innings. Carson in and bowls, and Keogh hammers that through mid-wicket, and that's going to be 4 runs. Nicely played by Keogh through mid-wicket, and 4 more. He goes to Northamptonshire 210 for 3, needing 8 more runs to win. These two coming together when the total was 141 for 3, so a partnership now of 59 of 69 between these two. And Northamptonshire have really got on with things this morning. As in comes Carson again, bowls. Oh, and Keogh's looking to cut that one through backward point, and I think the ball must have thumped into the top of the pad or the thigh pad. It just rippled down in front of him, and there is no run. Lovely day down on the south coast. A few high-level cotton wool clouds, but nothing more than that as Carson is in again, bowls, forward comes. Keogh again plays to mid-wicket, fielded there by Tom Clark. And again there is no run. Jack Carson, 1 more ball of his 13th over, figures of 0 for 44. Not always been his match with the ball. Jack, as in comes Carson, bowls, pulled away by Keogh. More runs here, and it could be 4. Rawlins is sprinting around the boundary. I think he'll just get there in time. Yes, he does, and prevents the ball trickling over the rope. But 2 more runs to Keogh, who goes to 60. No, he doesn't. The runs are already on the board. He goes to 59. And Northamptonshire to 212 for 3. It means that the visitors here need 6 more runs to win this match and complete the double over Sussex after a win up at Wantage Road just 2 or 3 weeks ago, when the weather was far different from what it is now. It is the most glorious day for cricket, and let's hope that stays like this for the next round of matches, as I say, that commences on Thursday. Northamptonshire will have 3 wins in this year's competition and will travel to Canterbury to play Kent. Sussex with the trip north to play Yorkshire at Leeds. And full commentary, ball-by-ball commentary on both matches live from the BBC as Travis Head comes into bowl to Safe Zabe, and Zabe wide outside the off-stump hammers that one away through the covers. But it's just a single to Zabe. I wonder whether he had half an eye of thinking I'll hit 6 to win the match. As it is, he has to be content with a single. He goes to 43, Northamptonshire 213 for 3. That brings the right-handed Keogh on strike, who very professionally retakes his guard. He hasn't faced Travis Head yet. I'm sure Keogh will want to be there at the end. Slip and a short, slip and a leg slipper in place as in comes Head and bowls. And Keogh is forward and pushes that to mid-off. Fielded there by Tom Haynes, and there is no run. Andrew is just coming back in, having done his update to the listeners on BBC Radio Northampton. As in comes Head again, and Keogh drives firmly through the covers. That's a lovely shot. He just gets a single though, as Tom Haynes comes running in from mid-off to field. Keogh to 60, Northamptonshire needing 4 to win. And let's hand the commentary to Andrew for the last rights.
Thanks, Adrian. Thank you very much. Well, yes, they've rattled along quite briskly this morning, and just 4 more runs needed. A boundary away as Head bowls round the wicket, bowls to Safe Zabe, who clubs it away, and that's it. It's beaten the man at mid-on. It goes to the boundary. The 2 batsmen embrace, and that's a comfortable victory in the end for Northamptonshire. If there are any thoughts of possibly getting a little bit nervy this morning if a couple of wickets fell, that was really killed off by these 2 in particular. Luke Proctor going after about 20 minutes play this morning for 51, but Rob Keogh and Safe Zabe polishing it off with an unbroken partnership worth, 77 in quick time, with Keogh finishing 60 not outs and Safe Zabe 47 off just 43 balls, and the players shaking hands, which is always good to see, and the umpires as well. And so around about 4 minutes past 12 on the 4th day, Northamptonshire win this match by 7 wickets, finishing on 218 for 3. And well, all to play for, and for Northamptonshire, trip down to Canterbury next week, and they'll probably be hoping that Sussex could do them a favour by turning over Yorkshire. Yes. At Headingley. Yes, absolutely. Always a tough assignment going to Leeds, and Sussex will need to regroup quickly. There's not much time in between matches. I'd imagine probably a day off tomorrow, probably training on Tuesday and travelling up to Leeds on Wednesday. But well played, Northamptonshire. Sussex Roy's on the back foot in this match after being reduced to 67 for 8 on the first bowling. It was always a long way back. They fought hard. Tom Haynes with that good century, and Ben Brown with 95, but ultimately Northamptonshire have won with a bit to spare, I think we have to say. A comfortable 7 wicket win. Let's just listen to the applause as the players make their way off, and handshakes all round, and the ground staff come out to do their work as well. Just thanks for your emails and your texts and your tweets. Just one email I didn't read that had just come in a little later here from Michael, who was saying how much he'd enjoyed the commentary, and after all the coverage of the Champions League final last night, I think he enjoyed a bit of cricket as well. And he said it's good, the club supporting industrious cricketers, young and old, and we've had some young players and some rather more seasoned campaigners in this game, and they've all performed admirably. Well, the players make their way up the steps. Well done, Northamptonshire. They've completed the double over Sussex, and they will fancy their chance of finishing in the top 2 in this group, Andrew. Well, they've got to go down to Kent now. We know that obviously Kent are propping up the table at the moment, the Group 3 table, but they're a dangerous side with some dangerous players, especially on their own home turf. So I'm sure David Ripley will be saying it's not just a question of turn up and win. They're going to have to go and earn that one. The possibility, I suspect, that there may be a change or 2 in the Northamptonshire side, which will doubtless keep across that the next couple of days, and I'm sure David Ripley will be thinking long and hard about how best to to maximise the chances of a win at the same time, just making sure that everybody's getting enough meaningful game time. But yeah, they are in with a chance, and I can imagine there's an awful lot of Northamptonshire supporters around the country and around the county saying, if only we got 2 more runs against Yorkshire, because if they had, then I think Northamptonshire would now be in a very strong position to finish in the top 2. They're still in with a good chance though, and with 3 matches left in this part of the first part of the championship season, there's everything for everybody to play for, and Sussex could turn over Yorkshire up there. Say Northamptonshire very nearly did it, and in conditions that were fairly unpleasant. So I'm sure you'll have a good trip up there and enjoy the hospitality of Yorkshire. I certainly thoroughly enjoyed my visit up there. Everything was perfect about that apart from the result.
Well done Northamptonshire. An excellent win for them, as I say, 3 wins now in the county championship, and that's looking like a tasty fixture to come in a few weeks' time when Yorkshire still need to come down to Northamptonshire.
Yes.
And that could be very decisive in who finishes in this group. I can see in Salisbury having to Rob Keogh's in front of the pavilion, all very friendly stuff. So good to see. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable 3 and a bit days. Thank you everybody for your emails and your tweets. Always good to keep us company, and particular thank you to Andrew, who's been good company for the last 3 days. We hadn't met before we went to Northampton. I've enjoyed your company immensely, Andrew.
Thanks, Adrian. No, likewise. It's been a lot of fun, and we've conscious of the fact, obviously, in the early part of the season, that we were very privileged to be actually able to watch county cricket, which a lot of people can't. And it's great that we've got spectators in, but it's still terrific to be able to follow all the twists and turns of what's been a cracking game. I mean, really, until the last hour yesterday, it could have gone either way, and I think just the partnership between Keogh and Proctor just sort of took the game a little bit away from Sussex. But we've seen so many twists and turns in this match. It's been a pleasure to watch it, a pleasure to share the company, and can I just say my personal thanks to Sam and all the team here at Sussex County Cricket Club, who've looked after us very well indeed, and very grateful for that.
No, they do a very good job here, and we're very lucky from the car park. People who monitor us into the ground. It's not been an easy week. The first week here with crowds in, and the club have had to put an awful lot of safety procedures in place, and I'm sure it'll be the same at Northampton. And clubs are doing their best in really, really tough, difficult times. So well done to the admin people here at Sussex, and the people, the stewards, and everyone who's worked really hard this week. So from Andrew and I, thanks for listening. Back on Thursday, me in Leeds, Andrew in Canterbury. And let's hope the weather stays like it is, and thank you again for listening. And a very good afternoon. Enjoy the sunshine.
Sam?